The questioner asks, conferences like these inspire someone to begin their journey of seeking knowledge, but sometimes they get overwhelmed, they don't know where to start. So they're saying, what is the advice that the mashayikh have when you're beginning in the early stages of your journey to seeking ilm? And do you follow, they also added this, do you follow certain madhabs? Do you follow certain tariqas or ways to arrive at the knowledge that you're seeking? They would like for you guys to, inshallah, shed some light on the journey of knowledge, how overwhelming it can become, and what are some small steps they can take in order to accomplish something at the end.
Start with Sheikh Abdullah, and let us agree agree on respectively disagree, and if we have to disagree. So if someone of the mashayikh, and we can learn to respectively disagree, by the way. So there is no problem. Who starts first? We will all basically share our thoughts. So I would start from the Sheikh Abdullah, Sheikh Munir, and we can disagree. If I say something that you don't like, please correct me. Or so if you have like other thoughts that you want to share, let us do this. Because we don't have to be too shy with each other. Go ahead.
My humble advice for someone who is beginning in knowledge is to start with what's available in your area. So you may live in an area where all you have available to you are people who speak Arabic and know how to teach Arabic. So my advice to you would be to start in the area where you live, with the scholars or the people of knowledge in that area. And if Arabic is what they have to offer, then I would start with that. Or you may be in an area where you have reciters of the Quran and you don't have people who know Arabic. Or you may be in an area where you have a scholar of fiqh or a scholar of tafsir, and that you don't have anyone other than that. And these are the lessons that are available to you. And so I would advise you to go and start with what is available to you and what is easy and accessible to you, instead of trying to follow a blueprint that was laid out by someone else someone else walked that path in a different city or in a different state or in a different country at a different time period. And you may not be able to walk that pathway because what was accessible to that person who offered you that opinion is not accessible to you. I can tell you my story, and we don't have enough time for that, and I don't think that you're here for that. And I can tell you what I did and the things that were accessible to me. However, that which I did and that which was accessible to me may not be accessible to you. That doesn't mean that you're not able to seek knowledge. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to obtain a large amount of knowledge. At whatever point you are, at whatever age you are, whether you're 20 years old or whether you're 50 years old, and you have a desire to seek knowledge, then my advice to you is to seek knowledge and to start where you are. Go to the people of knowledge who are in your local area, in your local masjid. Start with your imam, or if you have a teacher, someone who's teaching in the masjid, start right there with whatever they're teaching. Start attending the lessons. Get yourself a notebook, get yourself a pen that writes, and take down notes. Review your notes. Specify time that's set aside explicitly for your studies, the same way that you set aside time that's explicitly for your work, and the same way that you don't allow anyone to stick or to interrupt your work time. Do not allow anyone to interrupt your study time. And I'm going to leave room and space for the shuyukh to give their thoughts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all and guide you all in your affairs.
Bismillah. I would suggest, as Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhuma was asked with regards to the advice to a beginner, a student of knowledge, to buy a pair of iron sandals. قُلْ لِطَالِبِ الْعِلْمِ خُذْ نَعْلَيْنِ مِنْ حَدِيدٍ. Buy a pair of iron sandals. So the first step is for you to mentally prepare yourself and to train yourself and to discipline yourself for sacrifice, for hardship, for doing away with things that the average person doesn't do away with. mentally, spiritually, preparing yourself. Teacher, book, school, university, Egypt, Medina, Hadith, fiqh, usul, etc., etc. Mentally prepare yourself. That I'm aspiring to be a student of knowledge. I can no longer conduct myself as a layman. I can no longer keep practicing in this ignorant manner. I want to know why and how. I'm a seeker of truth, right? And I have to have the best character. I have to start thinking and behaving in a better way. There's a very long discussion on what a student of knowledge should do first and foremost. Me personally, I've authored 3 books on this topic. I would advise you to read them, not just because they're my books, but because they're in English and they're written from someone who started at the bottom and is still trying to climb as we speak from the West. And those books are The Way of the Disciple, 40 Hadith on Seeking Knowledge, Volume 1, and 40 Hadith on Seeking Knowledge, Volume 2. There is a free explanation of 2 of those 3 books online for free. And The Way of the Disciple is there. It hasn't been explained yet with regards to how to mentally, spiritually, and physically prepare yourself to transform from layman to student. What are the steps and the stages? Where do you go? Why do you go? What do you do with the teacher? So on and so forth. So I would advise you to go back to those works, Bidnillahi ta'ala. And if you're serious about it, my last advice is not to hesitate. Don't hesitate. Don't delay. Don't say, I'm going to go to school first, then go overseas. I'm going to learn this first. No, do what you want to do. There's no better time than the present. And life isn't promised for you. So if you're young and you have talent, you need to exploit that talent right now. Do not delay. You can take the secular studies afterwards. You can play sports, get married. You can do all of that afterwards. But the stickiness of your brain, that rubber band, you being young and fresh, stress-free, inshallah, you don't have that many sins. You don't have responsibilities and bills, right? You take advantage of that early. And of course, having a teacher, taking the knowledge that is available to you, closest to you, and most importantly, you being having the adaptability, because every situation is different. What was available for him or this one may not be available for you. So make the best out of your situation. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
Alhamdulillah. There's not much to add. The Mashayikh, mashallah, their answers were complete. I wrote an article. It's a longer article. It's on Muslim Matters. The name of the article is Pursue an Islamic Scholarship Alongside Another Career, Guidance for Aspirants. It's a pretty long article, but I think that it may be beneficial. I mean, it may answer many of your questions. And I would second what Sheikh Mufti Munir said about not hesitating. But at the same time, you don't hesitate to pray Salat al-Dhuhr, right? Because you have to. You don't hesitate to do something that is clearly good, and seeking knowledge is clearly good. But there should be ongoing self-reckoning. You should be always asking yourself, why am I learning? Why am I pursuing knowledge? Watch Allah's watchfulness of you. Muraqabah, muhasabah. To be engaged in self-reflection, self-reckoning all the time is important. I was saying earlier in the lecture that if your parents ask you to massage their feet or legs, and you think that you're wasting your time, then it's a good time for you to actually pause and figure out if you're actually doing this for Allah or for something else. Are you motivated to seek knowledge for the sake of Allah or something else? Because if you're truly seeking this for Allah and you have the opportunity to show kindness to your parents and to massage their legs, then you would never think that this was a waste of time. And you would cherish the opportunity to do that for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.